Pearl is done. I need to readjust this microphone. Pearl's done. We gotta make it so. It's over. We're on page 136. Say clear. CD back up, and we're going to remove Pearl. That's over with. It's on the reline. Okay. So let's see if this free command works. It does. Got 111 free. That's okay. Not bad. What is this? I don't know what that is. Okay. I'm gonna check the space, or I'm gonna check the draw on my host OS. 297. You know what? Should I dump it? Sure, why not? Let's dump it. Keep it nice and free. So echo free, or echo 3 into proc sys VM. Drop caches. Oop, not door. Drop caches. Alright. Now we go in, we look at free. Cool. Good to go. Alright. Free over here. Should I drop any caches out of here? I got 112 free. I won't. I don't really need to. Okay? One time I'd like to drop those, like when I get like 10 free, or if I know I got a big, if I got something to, like a GCC or glibc or something coming through, and I only have like 8 free or something, I like to drop that. Right? But you gotta know when to drop and when not to drop. Because I have dropped and lost. So, I don't want... You guys know about dropping by now, so you're okay. But if you don't know about dropping, don't drop in the middle of while you're installing or extracting or doing any of that good stuff, okay? You want to drop your cache if you have to, and you want to drop your cache after everything's all put away and installed and linked up properly. And not while you're in the middle of a test suite or something like that, okay? So, like I said, we're on page 136, and we're getting readline all configured, ready to go. Turn it on and off stuff. Old. .d. Okay. Looks good. Say make file in. Set old, move old. Yeah, that's right. Okay. We'll set again, and we will say that move old stuff. Old stuff. Old stuff. /c. Okay. Support. Sh libs install. Okay, that's done. I'll also say configure prefix equals user and libdir equals lib. Okay, do that. That goes through. It's little. 0.1. Less than a minute, or take a minute, maybe a little bit slightly higher than a minute, but it won't take 2. Okay, so what does readline do? I read it. I forget. You can read it. It's okay. Chlib underscore libs equals dash. Remember that L. Remember that too. In curses. In curses. Okay. We just did this option forces readline to link against the lib in curses. Really, lib in curses as W library. So that's what that meant by doing that. And readline overall means, or does, readline package set set of libraries that offers command line tool editing, all that good stuff. Okay, you need it. You need it. Anything to do with I didn't know what that did. Shlibs curses. Okay. Let's say install. Okay. Deconfig. I think we're okay. Change mod. V755 lib read line and history story. Okay. You're kind of coming to us after a while looking at this screen. Sometimes you forget how to spell. Lib, read line, and history. .a, user, lib. Right? Okay. Good. Alright. Now here's another one of those little funky things. Okay. Lib. You see what I'm saying? Read line. History. .so. Okay. There's the funky thing. Going up again. Lib read line.so5 user tab. The more you have to type out, more of a chance you might mess up. But you at least expect it. Lib read line.so. Lib read line.so. Okay. And we'll also say lib history .so5 to lib history .so. Okay, that's done, and read line is done. So we're going to come back up, move read line, and onto our zlib. Contains compression and decompression routines used by some programs. Okay, so zlib or the z library, lib library. Like bunzip, or not gzip, but bz2, zip routines, stuff like that. Compression. Libdir equals lib. Make sure that's right. User shared. Yeah. Okay. And we'll say make install. Sometimes it's good to watch the output, see what's actually going on. You get to see what your what .c files are and what .o files are. It's all a learning tool. So it's great because everything's in front of you, and you're totally connected to it. should be never far away from you. Tab complete everything. Try to at least tab complete everything you can. Okay? Just like steering. You know. Try to tab complete everything you can. Even when you're configuring, some of them won't go through, but you know, if you say prefix equals user and all that stuff like that, some may go through. But some of them won't. But at least, you know, you're steering. Okay. Zlib's all done. Let me say, remove zlib. Okay. We're going to untar auto config. Right? Yeah. Reset 2. Auto config is less than 1 SPU. CD auto config. Okay. I'm going to say configure prefix equals user. Gotta get closer or something. Okay. And make install. Okay. Go down and we'll say let's remove auto config. And we're going to untar auto make 196. CD on auto make. And we're going to say configure prefix equals user. And then we're going to say make install. Okay. And remove automake. And we're on to bash. Bash is like a 4-minute, so that's pretty cool. Bash.targz. Okay. CD into bash 3.1. And for kicks, you go in your terminal on your main machine and type in bash version dash. Type in bash version. Maybe is this it? Yeah. Type that in on your home computer. See what's going on with that. You're probably up to like 4.2 or higher. So we got a bash 3.1 installed. Going to install. You're going to get the bash documentation and all that. And all these programs we are installing, they're totally upgradable. HTML directory space equals space at HTML dir at pipe HTML dir. Okay, take a second and look at that, because I am. Let's say said s. We got HTML dir at HTML dir. Not 2Ds, only 1D. And then we're going to say space equals user. Say share. Say doc bash dash 3.1 pipe new line. I'm going to read this out carefully so I know exactly what's going on. HTML dir equals at HTML dir at. Okay. At HTML dir. When you get all installed and whatnot, even if you don't make it through the whole install, you know, peek around at some of these make files it's pretty interesting to see what's in them. You know, and you know what? This is what I'm looking forward to. Even when I do get this installed, to keep. I'm looking forward to looking around in the make files and in make files of new programs I want to put on, and seeing all the good stuff in the back. You know, it'll give more purpose, I guess, to what you're actually typing out here. These are all switches. These are all configurations. You know, and you have the complete choice of which configurations you want, but you got to know how to configure them also. You know, you don't, you know, what's optimized for your machine. Not only that, but what's optimized for the stuff that that you already put down. You know what I mean? Like if you go and install a new thing, well, does it accept a read line or installed read line? Does it accept a new read line, or what version of read line does it accept? Automake and all that stuff. You know, like what's its dependencies is what I want to say. You know, and do those dependencies have to be upgraded too? Like I said, with links, I went through and I had to upgrade various different things. There's like with the Gen 2 install I had, it was like 12 different packages. And what do you have to upgrade? What do you have to get rid of? You know, it's good to see that, or at least it's good to know what's going on behind the scenes. It's good deal. It's good for you. Good for your brain. I hope you get this installed, and this is all I want to use for a little while. You know, build some packages and help you out better with your scripting. You know, because you kind of have no fallback. We already talked about that. So we already talked about that. But be surprised at what you know because you have to. You know. And it is easier to point and click, but I found out that even with Ubuntu, not only with Windows, I came in as a Windows user. I came in as an idiot. I have no idea I even had to turn on my computer. And I started using Windows, and I just found it was tricky. You know, you had to go download a program. Okay. Then you had to download another program. Well, these two programs they were identical, but one had a different GUI, or one had this requirement of RAM, or this one was too heavy. And you know, for instance, SSH and PuTTY and all that stuff, it's like you know, I can SSH through my terminal. Why do I have to go find PuTTY and fill out the little blocks and boxes and checks and all that stuff like that? You know, if you're doing things, if you want to automate things, you can't do that with that. So, you know, so from behind the scenes, sometimes it's a little easier if you know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, mess around with it. Have fun. That's the worst that could happen. Back everything up. Be okay. Okay? So we just did that. Sourced what we just put in. Or not sourced, but bash 3.1. Let's see what we just did with bash with the exec command. Okay, run a newly compiled bash program replacing the one that is currently being executed. That's what we did. And we removed bash. Now it's on the bzip 2. I'm going to extract bzip 2. And let's see, where are we? Bzip. Scroll down. Patch. NP. install, tab complete, patch. Okay. Also, we're going to say patch dash npi bzip 103 bz security patch. Okay, that's good. Let's go down a little bit. We'll say set I s at temp file d temp dash p bz at make temp slash p / temp at, say, bz tab complete. Any tab complete? There we go. Okay. Take a second and look at this. We'll say set at temp file. It's good. D at / temp p at bz at make temp. Good. Dash p at temp bz def. Good. Okay. We'll say make f make file. So 2. If you don't know what bzip is, we've been using it. tar bz, tar gz, gzip, bzip, gunzip, all the zip routines. Okay, make clean, done. I'm going to say make and make install. Okay, so this is giving you capabilities so you can unzip programs, do all that good stuff. Because not all folders come in extracted. But you know, if you're a Linux person, everything's always tarred up, zipped up somehow. Copy bzip. I'm gonna say bzip 2 shared to bin bzip 2 bzip 2 shared to bin bzip 2. Copy v. It's done. Copy av lib bzip2.so. Watch that right there. Okay. You don't only copy one file, we want to copy all those files. Okay. bzip2 is that. Good. Okay. I'm going to say link symbolic verbose 1, 2 back up to lib not getting any tab complete, so I just seen why I didn't either. Hope you've seen it. I had 3 dots instead of 2 dots on one of these. So like I said, you gotta pound out tab just like you're steering, because you know you'd hate to type this in and it never existed in that folder anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta continuously press on your tab, because mistakes happen. They're only mistakes if you go all the way. That's a big mistake. Good. Okay. And we're going to say remove user bin. Gotta remove bunzip. Is it bunzip 2? Yeah, bunzip 2. Be unzip 2. Bunzip 2. And bz cat. And bzip 2. Make sure that's right. bz cat. Bunzip 2. Everything looks fine. Okay. We're going to link symbolic. We're going to link bzip 2 to bin bunzip 2. Right? Right. Okay. And also link bzip 2 to bin bz cat. Okay. Okay. That's good. So we're done with bzip, and it's on to diffutils. So we got to go up here, bzip 103, remove that, and now where are we at? Page 148. Untar diffutils. CD into our diffutils. I'm gonna say patch. Apply the patch. .I. Going up to diffutils. IL patch. Okay. We got a touch. Man. Diff.1. Configure. Prefix equals user. It's not taking that long. 0.1 SBUs. So it's a little guy. Diffutils, I think it's compares files. Is if you want to upgrade files, if you want to upgrade your whatever file you download, you want to update. I think diffutils has a major role to play in that. See if those files are already there, and what's in those files, and if those files are different than the ones that you have, it'll upgrade them. If it doesn't, those files are the same, then it can skip over those dependencies and won't need to upgrade. So, very important. Everything's important. Did I do that right? Make install. Am I done? Yeah. Okay. All right. We're done diffutils. By the way, E2 progs. E2FS progs contains utilities for handling ext2 file systems. E2 prog. Okay. Now we're in here and we're going to say make directory v build. Unlike the other ones where we made a directory outside of this directory, we actually make a directory inside of our extracted E2FS progs extraction folder. So that's a little heads up there. And configure prefix equals user with root prefix equals nothing. Okay? Okay. Enable elf sh libs. Okay. Disable EVMs. I think I got it. Got it. Release date May 2006. The this LFS 6.2. I guess it might be a 2008 release. I don't know. So you think about it. Okay, is it old? Maybe. But it's only old because of the packages have not been upgraded yet. So once you get it all in and you want to play around with it, instead of saying, you know, I built my system, if you say I built my system and I used the system I built, if you want to upgrade all these packages, there's plenty of help, because that's what I want to do. I want to upgrade all these packages, or maybe not upgrade them all, but just get them to do what I want them to do, you know. But yeah, I had to go through and upgrade what you want, what you don't want. And the simple packages are not here, like what, right? Links You know, okay, put it simple, Firefox isn't here. You know, you gotta go get it, and you gotta configure it, and you gotta bring it into your system, and you gotta, you know, install dependencies. Alright? Um, there's no display manager. You know, there's no X, there's no GNOME or KDE or anything. So if you want to use that, if you want a GUI, well, you gotta go get it and bring it in and configure it. I never got that far with Gentoo. I just installed Gentoo on the back end. It was great, run around the command line. But I never installed a display manager with Gentoo. And you can, you know. I wasn't really interested though. For me, display managers are, you know, great, of course, but didn't serve the purpose. And the purpose for me was to get more back end time, you know, and try to sever my dependencies on having to use a GUI CD burner program. I wanted to burn it from the back end. You know, if you can do anything from the back end, I want to live in the back end. I want to use it for everyday use. I'm so happy. That's done. Not done, but we gotta make one more. Install libs. I'm so happy when I finally got my my network manager. When I was able to turn on Wi-Fi through the command line. You know, it's great. It's great. No longer did I have to really go to the GUI for too much. So, that's that. CD up again, so get out of the directory before you remove it. Because if you're in it, you can't remove it. Okay? Now it's on to extracting file 417. And we're going to say CD file 417. Clear it up. Configure. Prefix equals user. It's less than 1 SBU, so good. What does it do? Utility for determining the type of a given file or files. Cool. You need it. You also look too. In this area here, it'll say what dependencies are also installed with it. So that's a good thing. You know, you see what libraries are installed to it or come with it. You know. So you know, while you're making and installing and waiting, you know, if you don't have anything else to do, read it. Read the book. Read exactly what's being dumped onto your stuff. Read what you're doing. You know, can you do it with a GUI? Sure, but what happens if the GUI fails? Uh-oh. You know, you might as well go use some other operating system. Lib exec directory. Right? I think so. Yeah. User. Tab complete. Find utils. Can we get a tab complete? No tab complete. Find utils. Take a second, look at this, and we'll say configure prefix equals user lib exec directory or dir. Okay, that's good. Local state dir equals var lib locate. Good deal. But yeah, if you I want to get into more C programming. You know, the only way to get into more C, I think, for me anyway, we all work differently. For me, I know the only way for me to get into more of it is to use it. You know, jump right in at it. I could do Hello World. I want to do more than Hello World. You know, I want to do more than Hello World. So the only way for me to do more Hello World is to actually be exposed to it, kind of at a non-stop pace. You know, if I have to build, I'm okay. That's how I work. That might not be how you work. That's how I work. Totally immerse myself into it. I'm not gonna lie to you though. I'm still gonna use my desktop to look at YouTube because, you know, I have no idea how you would put a display manager on LFS. But there's books out. Beyond Linux from Scratch, BLFS, CLFS, I talked about earlier, was cross-compile Linux from scratch. So, yeah, there's stuff out there. There's stuff out there. There's a lot of packages out there too. You know. And don't stop going to the forums. There's a ton of help everywhere. Especially in the forums. Say find equals $, curly brackets, bin, dir, right? Right. / find stop equals bin, Ooh, okay, check that out. So it looks like it said IE S at find or S/find stop equals binder find stop equals, okay, looks good. User bin update DB. Okay, that's it for find utils. We're on page 55. Moving right along. Remove find utils. Okay. Tar XVF flex. Flex is less than 1. Let me say CD into flex. Clean it up a little bit. Generating programs that recognize patterns in text. So we say configure prefix equals user. And got make install. Pretty soon too, you'll notice we won't be really pulling packages out too much anymore. We're going to be running into configuring scripts to actually run those packages that we extracted and configured. So the end is near. It's always near. You know what they say? The end is always near. So we have a user. If you look down at 155, you'll see we've got a cat into a user bin lex file. You know, it's coming. It's coming. Wait till we hit the LFS boot scripts. That's not hard. I messed it up on the first one I did. I messed up on the first LFS I did. And libl.a. Check that out. libl.a. Okay. The first one I did, I messed up. And somehow I messed up my terminal. So it kept respawning. So the terminal would pop up, but it would respawn, and I'd get all kind of errors. So, and that was all in my LFS boot scripts. It's been lex eof. Okay, here, comment this out, and we'll say bin sh. We're just going to type begin. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Okay. And skip a line and say exec user bin flex. That's an L. That's an L. Don't fret. That's an L. At to that file. Change mod verbose 755 user bin lex. Cool. Done. Lex is done. Move lex flex. Okay. We're gonna untar our favorite program that saved our lives forever. It's Grub. Gotta love the Grub. Grub stands for GRAN Unified Bootloader. I said that without looking at it too, because I know now. And that's how I know, really. I think it's from this. Unified Bootloader. Grub saved us so many times. If we didn't have Grub, we'd never be able to dual boot Windows. Configure. Prefix equals user. Matter of fact, when you dual boot in Windows, get a Windows machine and you wipe it all out. Put Windows on first. Little heads up. I learned that the hard way. Put Windows on first and then install Grub over top of it. Install your Linux OS over top of it. That way Grub will install over top of the Windows bootloader. Because if not, if you put, say, Ubuntu on first and then install Windows, well, Windows boot code will overwrite Grub, and that's not cool. You can also use DDF. Use DDF to zero out. I think the bootloader takes up maybe 400 megabytes of the partition. I'm probably wrong, but I do remember seeing that. Use DDF to zero that out. And then DDF dev equals DDF equals what is it? DDF dev in your device, and your OF. DDIF is in file. Okay, DD. It's look, nothing to do with what we're doing now. DDIF. Okay, DD, this destroyer or this duplicator right here. Input file. Okay, would be dev. If you wanted to say input file, would be. Actually, I think it's DDF dev 0. That's your input that you want to put in. Okay, and then you have your output file, which is your dev. If you say HDA 4, right? Effectively, if you had a HDA 4 right now on your hard drive, by this command here, you could zero out your hard drive. A little dangerous. Okay. A little dangerous. But that's what you do. DE command. Good old DD command. If you want to sanitize a hard drive, if you want to sell it, make sure there's nothing on it, because directory boot grub. When you actually format or delete, if you delete information, it doesn't go away. It's still there. It just breaks off links. And if you format it, it never goes away either. It's still there. You just break off the links. But if you fill it with zeros, if you fill that with zeros, it overwrites the linkers. So that's how you can zero out a hard drive if you want to sell it, and make sure that none of your data is on it. Okay, that's Grub. But the bootloader is actually within the first 400 megabytes or so. So if you said DDF 0 and you did a count 1, a block size of 512, you could zero out your, what did I do? Yeah, you could zero out your bootloader. So if Windows was your problem, you could zero it out. There's no need really to zero it out. Just install Grub over top of it, and you're good to go. Or if you screwed up, you could mount mount and bind your device folder off of for instance, I did that one time. I had to get my Ubuntu Live CD out and bind the live CD to the my partition, and had to reinstall Grub, and that took care of the problem. But yeah, without Grub, we wouldn't be able to dual boot. Yeah, we would, because before Grub it was Lilo. I never used Lilo. libxecdir. libxecdir equals userlib. Never used Lilo. I never was exposed to Lilo until Gen 2, and I still never used Lilo. Matter of fact, I got a iBook from '99. It's got a G3 processor in it. I think it's a PowerPC processor, and I gotta put a bootloader on it so I can run Linux on it. A little crap machine, like 320 megabytes of RAM. It's got a wireless B, as in Bob, wireless B card. So, but that's my virtue. That's probably why I got this far in Linux too, because I've been trying to do that for years. My first laptop, and I was watching what do you call it? I was watching Metal X 2000 toots and Bash toots, and sooner or later it broke down where I, couldn't execute the same things that Metal X 1000 was doing. And I said, you know what? I don't have the right machine. And I was right. I had a Mac. Have lang info code set. But I have to use a bootloader called Yaboot for that. Says Yaboot actually means yet another bootloader. So use a Yaboot for that to quote jailbreak it, I guess. And believe it or not, that's how I found out about Gen 2. I was trying to figure out what type of operating system I could put on it. I ran through damn small Linux, DSL. I ran through Tiny Core Linux. I had a VirtualBox machine on that too, on the Mac, and that was god awful slow. You figure with 320 megabytes of RAM, how fast could it be, and how much could you allot to your virtual machine? I think I don't know. I think I ended up defaulting like 250 megabytes of RAM to the virtual machine. I had 100 megabytes of RAM to run it. It was terrible. It was terrible. I mean, you'd move the cursor and you could count to at least 25 before the cursor would actually move. If that. I think it was worse than that. Nevertheless, though, it was bad enough because it made me get off a Mac and come to a real machine without messing around. So, but that's how I found out about Gen 2. Okay. I messed up. You see that, right? See that? I messed up. That's okay. Because before we figured out how to fix it. So we're going to do what we should have did. Type in gawk. And we're going to remove gawk. Okay. Now remember, if you accidentally, and it's easy to do that, if you accidentally delete your gzip or bz files, if you delete your source files, Control T, Control N, I'm going to go in to another terminal. Okay. Let's see. I go in it not as root on this one. At 192.168.1.101. If you do that, you can always go back in on the back end or SSH through a different terminal. So actually you're going to have two users into your machine. Oh, can't do that. Okay. So we'll say sudo su. Let's see if this one will go through. Okay, and we'll say SSH root at 192.168.1.101. Let me in. Let me in. Let me in. Please let me in. Cool. Okay. And I think we deleted get text to get text tar. I think it was. We can see if we did or not by saying we'll go cdf to root on the live CD. We're on the live CD, by the way. Okay. This is not our LFS install. We're on the live CD. Okay. Go into mount, list it out, CD into the LFS folder where our system is at. Okay. And that's all the stuff we built. Look at all that good stuff. Look at it all. Okay, that's the old CD. We can CD into sources, list it out. These are all the sources that are still here. I'm going to say grep. We use the I for it. I want to say indiscriminate, but that's not the truth. But that makes it so it's not case sensitive. Okay. So if I look and I see, I said grep I get text, and it's not finding get text. How about get? Not finding that. How about GE? See? Okay. It's gonna search for all the stuff that's got GE in it. That's what grep does. That's how we know that we deleted get text. So let's go back up to root, and we're gonna copy verbose in the LFS sources. Let's type in get with a tab completion. There we go. Copy get text tools to our mount LFS tab, sources tab, right? Yeah. Okay. Done. Problem averted, or disaster averted. Problem solved. Back where we need to go. We're going to untar our get text we just took back off the live CD. Okay, now we can do that. No problems. Don't delete your sources. Don't delete your sources until you're up and running again. Even if you want to delete them then. If not, then don't. They're not doing anything. They're not installed. Don't delete them. If you want to delete them, you can, only because you'll free up space. But don't delete them while you're trying to install anything. But back to me and my rants about Macs. I had to search and find what good operating system would be to put on the Mac after I used Yaboot to dual boot. Okay, and people were throwing up stuff like I think one person said Yellow Dog Linux, or maybe that was PS3. I think that was PS3. But I think I did hear about it on Mac too. Yellow Dog Linux. There weren't many choices. Yellow Dog Damn Small Linux was everybody was crying that too. I heard about Tiny Core Linux. I don't know if it was from there, but Puppy Linux. Excuse me. Puppy Linux. I don't think I heard about it from there. But I just started looking at a whole bunch of Linux distros, and looking at the requirements and the RAM requirements and what was good. But Gentoo was a big cry. Everybody was crying out Gentoo. Put Gentoo on it, or Phoenix, or something like that. So everybody was crying out Gentoo. So that's what got me into Gentoo. And I found out I had a Gentoo. I got the CD, I downloaded it, and I burned it. I loaded it up, and it was nothing like I thought an operating system would ever be. And little did I know, you're watching everything load. You're watching the kernel load, and all the modules load, and watching the drivers come up, and all that stuff. So I was kind of perplexed, at least for a little while, saying, what is this Gentoo? Made no sense to me at all. I YouTube Gentoo and I found out that, you know, what Gentoo is. And popped in Gentoo, and I thought Gentoo was the hardest thing in the world. Little did I know that there was a man somewhere who said, let's make a Linux from scratch. He wasn't lying. This is from scratch. From nothing. So, that's that. I'm sure you could probably put Linux from scratch on a, what do you call it, Mac, whatever. You put it anywhere. Or at least you'll be able to figure out how to put anything on anything from this. Something like that. But, with all the knowledge that you get. Get text is, contains utilities and internal localization, NLS, native language support, all that good stuff. 65 megabytes. Get text. Installed programs. It's AutoPoint, config charset, config rpath, env subs, get text, host name. That's all the programs that got installed with it. Libraries, lib, asprintf, libgettext, lib. Okay. And two, if you look at the sort descriptions, it'll tell you what certain things does. You look down, you see gettext says translates a natural language message into the user's language by looking up the translation in a message catalog. Word. Need your gettext. On 163 coming up, we got grep again. If you notice though, the programs they're getting, they're starting to expand more. Yeah, as we're going back in, now that we have the directories, we don't, you know, we're not only making a tool chain with the bare essentials that we dumped into the tool chain, but now that we have directories, we can actually dump our items back into our directories, or not back into, but into our directories. So that's why they're getting very big. As far as megabytes go, I don't know if that's getting very big. I didn't keep track of that, but I do know that we're starting to skip a lot more pages because there's a lot more documentation on what we just did. So that's good. Because when the pages run out, that means we're done. It's over. You reboot your machine. It's a good deal. Yeah, I'm trying to kill time, because if I stop the video, it'll take me an hour and a half to encode it. Or I can talk to you for another 4 minutes. And I won't have to spend an hour and a half of dead time watching the daggone thing encode. So, if you want to skip it, you can skip it. But don't skip it, because you'll miss something. If you miss something, oh well. Can't blame me. Yeah, you probably can blame if we reboot and this thing don't start. Oh, right, it's coming to the end. I can feel it. If you did 3 of these back to back, you can feel it too. Been up on these things for a day or so, plus you'll feel it because you become the machine. Let's go back over here, and where are we at here? Let's look at our usage. Look at that, sticky. Oh man, very sticky, very sticky. I'm ready to be shocked. Oof, 27 free. Holy stromboli. Video cast takes a lot of resources anyway. Takes a lot of resources. So after our get text, we had make install, and we're done. Get text. Okay. So we'll say clear cd out of get text and remove get text for real this time. There we go. Get rid of all that good old get text stuff. prefixes, and we have the change mod plus X tests FMB tests sh. Change mod that. Configure prefix equals user bin dir. Right? Equals bin. I think that's right. Yeah. Okay. And it says installed programs is egrep, link to grep, fgrep, which is a link to grep, and grep. What's egrep? I don't know. I only used grep. What's fgrep? Don't know either. I only used grep. So, let's say grep-I. How I showed you. Or how you seen. Maybe I didn't show you anything. Grep-E, you can actually append stuff. So if you say, if you're looking for in a line of code, say you want to grep out, if you had a text file and you had names in it, and you were looking for Amy, if you look for Amy, you can say grep Amy. Or you could say, if you're looking for Amy and Tom, you can say grep Amy -E space dash, or not dash, but space Tom. Like this. Grep-E. Okay. If you had Amy, you would find Amy. And then you'd append -E to it, so you'd have to go for Tom too. And then you can append it again and say Roy. Okay. So, that's what the E-switch does. I'm sure the E-switch does a lot more than that. But remove grep. Done. Graph. XVF. Graph. Graph contains packages, processing, formatting, text. Graph. Gotta love these names. Some of them just sound terrible. Yeah, just one. I think it's because of the G. Maybe Rolf was a program, but then they threw the G in it for GNU. And let's name it Graph. Or, that's true. I don't know if it's with Graph, but that's true. They throw the G in front of it. Because it's, you know, GNU. Or like GNU, or not GNU, but GCC. It's C, but it's GCC. Because, you know, there's changes to it as far as, there's GNU changes to it. But they threw the G in front of it because it's GNU. GNU. Or GNOME. Let's say, what are we looking at? 2010 to a D. Good. E. Let's see. Slash 212. 2D. Good. Check it. That looks fine. Okay. And we'll say S at 2018 / 006 delta E S 2019 027 / take a second to figure this out. Okay, well, screwed up there. Not 6 delta, 60. 2D up top. Looks good. Looks good. 2018. Looks good. Everything's good. I'm gonna say font dev UTF-8 or Pro2. That's cool. Alright, now you'll you'll see a little thing here explaining this default paper size. I'm not going to go into it. It explains it better in the book, but that's what I'm going to do, because it says I can do that. I'm in America, or if you know English, or if you want to use English, that's what you do. So I'm going to do that. I've ran into problems with that too. I had no idea what that meant. So multi-byte, enable multi-byte, good. But yeah, graph or bison's already a GNU, so it's not like a good bison. But GNOME, you know, GNOME, GNU GNOME. Actually, there was a if you're into reading about Linux, Unix, anything else like that, look up the C programming language from Ritchie, Dennis Ritchie, the godfather of C. He made C off of B, Bell Labs, all that good stuff. But the godfather of Unix, the father of Unix, him and Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson. But one of their books, they were, I think maybe in the Unix operating, I don't know what it was, something like that. But I think it was the Unix manual, V5 manual. I got the V5 manual, old Unix manual, and I think he talked about that the GNOME. I don't know if this is where GNOME came from or not, but he said, you know, when you type in this or that, that little gnomes will go and find the program for you and bring it back to you. And I wonder if that's where we got like GNOME, you know, or GNOME. Of course, the G's got to be in front of it because Unix and Linux, they ain't the same, and GNU's not. Of course, that's what GNU means. GNU is GNU is an acronym for GNU's not Unix, so, or something like that. But GNU's not Unix. That's what GNU stands for. That's what Richard Stallman said in that movie, Revolution OS 2000. It's a great movie. Gotta see it. Gotta see it. He was really there, really talking about it back in 2000. A lot younger, a lot skinnier. Good stuff. Good stuff. Don't worry, this will be done pretty soon. We can remove the graph packages that we installed. We're on page 164. That was good. That was good. Gotta link that to EQN user bin GEQN. See EQN and GEQN. Might be a GNU. Might be a GNU. Don't know. Say D table TBL. Go back over here. User. We're gonna say link TBL. Okay. They look good. Super. Graph is done. Now we're gonna go gzip. Remove graph. And what are we looking like on this machine? 54. I can live with it. Tar XVF gzip 135. So CD into gzip now. I've got a patch to make. Patch ph np-i np1. Okay. Don't listen to everything I say. I know you're probably saying, yeah, we already don't, but just do that. Configure prefix equals user Okay. gzip. Oh, a perfect example, gzip. Yeah, you do have a zip or zip program, just called zip, right? gzip. It's GNU zip. So that's what that's like. And bind R. I'm gonna say bin at G. Okay, take a second look at this. Set at bind R at bind R at. Okay. Okay. / bin at G. Notice here what this said, we don't have any we don't have any /. Well, not as many as we do in the other sets. Looks a little different. Okay, make install. Now that you get down to it, it's kind of amazing how many what's actually in one of these. A program file. Man, I thought, I know programs are pretty massive, but how much time is actually went into one of these? All those object files and everything else, they're all from somewhere. Somebody had to do them. It's amazing. User bin. I'm going to say gunzip, which is another probably G program, GNU. Well, obviously it is. But, maybe unzip was a program and they slapped on and they ported it through GNU. Now they had to call it GNU or GNU zip or GNU unzip or gunzip. gzip to gunzip. Gotcha. Need to link gzip to zcat. Okay, good. gzip to compress. Good. And now, be careful. Uncompress. I'm going to take gzip out. I need to say gunzip to bin uncompress. Right? I think so. Right. Bin uncompress. Good. Okay. That's the end of gzip. So, peace out, gzip. Tar and utils and basic networking utils or iNet utils. How about that, huh? I didn't see how to read that before. Since I read what it does, now I know how to pronounce it. I said before, I hate reading. Probably why it took me 20 installs. Patch np1 -i and then utils -no server man patch. Okay. Now we need to say configure prefix equals user lib exec dir equals user sbin. Watch the sbin. A lot of stuff is not repetitive in here. Some stuff is repetitive, but some stuff is not repetitive. Anytime you think you're going, yeah, you're gonna put this next, thing changes direction on you. State dir equals var. Okay, pause for a second. Sysconf dir etc. disable logger, disable sys log d, right? I think. Yeah. Good. Disable who is. Good. Disable servers. I think S and G line up. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. 2 minutes, not a big one. We did more. But I won't be setting up any networking in this tutorial. You'll see that later. I'll make the scripts where I'm not going to put in Wi-Fi information and all that. Well, not for security reasons, but I'm just happy to get it up and running. You can configure your Ethernet card at any time. That's not a biggie. You know, just get the system stable pretty much is my main goal. Yeah, you can do all that later. You know, you guys really couldn't do anything with my password anyway, but that's not the case. I trust you guys. Okay, make it stop. If you look at the contents of iNet utils, you got FTP, ping, or CP, phone's remote file copy. Huh, I did not know that. R login, RSH, runs a remote shell. Good stuff. Good stuff for your brain. Ping. Move ping to bin. Ping. Okay. Okay, great. iNet utils is done. Come up and remove iNet utils. Glad I read what that meant, because if not, I'd still be calling it. Yeah, that's what I called it before. IP root. Go into IP root. And we say make s bin, no tab, of course, dir equals to s bin. Good. Cool. S bin install. That'll work. Sorry if you hear me swallowing. That's water. That's coffee. Try to stay up. But this has got ARP in it. CStat. IFCG. Actually, instead of ifconfig, you would type in to see, you know, your network stuff in a different, I'm not going to say a regular Linux, because that's not the case, but in, let's say in Ubuntu, okay, ifconfig will give you you know, your network information. Here in this Linux, and I don't know if it's because of the user bin, sbin, arpd, gotcha. I don't know if it's because of maybe the packages are old or whatnot. I doubt it's the packages. But ifcg is actually ifconfig. So there's a few different command conventions. You know, a little different. Not much different, but a little different. If you're going to use the heck out of the system, you'll have to accommodate for that. That's what I'm looking forward to. Accommodating for the little things. KBD. Key table files, keyword utilities. Cool. That's what it's got. That's what it says to use. That's what we're gonna do. Okay. Man. Backspace. One patch. Okay. And we got another patch too. That's a GCC 4 patch. 4 fixes. Okay. Let me say configure data dir equals lib k bd, right? Yeah. Configure data dir. Yep. Okay. Good to go. Make install. Okay. 174, we're moving right along. I think it's around I think it's around 200 or whatnot. We start to get to set up our boot scripts, RC, our CD drive scripts, a little bit of stuff like that, like the good stuff. Well, I don't know, because I'm not going to be doing much setting up of like CD drives. But we can make the file. So at least if anything goes to it, it knows that the file's there and we won't get an error that nothing's there. OpenVT, set font, KBD mode. Okay, looks good. Okay. Good. Okay. Alright, we are done. KBD. Go back up. Move KBD 1.2. I will say untar out less. Good old less. You guys know about less. If you don't, it's just like less, more. I think they're almost the same. I don't use less, I use more. Equals Etsy. That's all though. So you don't have to go chasing and go up. After you have output, you don't have to go up 15 lines to read the beginning. You can just hit more. Pipe it in through more and you get terminal by terminal size. Kind of like next page, stuff like that. I think that's what less does. Pretty sure. On some of the older systems, I think maybe Slackware I think has less. I think less is a Unix program, or was a Unix origin. Well, this is all Unix origin, but you know what I'm saying. One of the old commands. Like I don't think there was. Pretty sure more wasn't a command. Unix. I'm not sure. I never had a Unix. I got a Minix, which is close to Unix, but I didn't really mess with Minix. Configure prefix equals user. We're on the Make 380. It's got good stuff in it. I think as close as you get to Unix anymore, I think might be BSD, OpenBSD. I don't know, Red Hat maybe. I'm not sure. I think OpenBSD is closer to Unix. Maybe Red Hat is too. I don't know. I never used Red Hat. Never used OpenBSD either. But I did download Minix. And I don't know what a Unix is supposed to look like, so maybe I don't know. I know what Linux looks like. So that's all I need for this. Remove make 380. And now we need to tar our man DB. It's got man pages in it. Okay. Just say move man /DE. Hold on tight. Underscore DE dot 88591 comma. Get out of that. And check that because we're going to use this as a reference. Okay. Now we go back up with our up arrow. We just take out DB and put in ES. Same thing out here, ES. Okay? Because that's the same. Okay, now we got all that stuff, so we take out the excess we don't need. And let's take out the D and put IT. Same thing here, IT. And check it. That's good. Now we say, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. I take this out, type in JP. EUC JP. Okay. Okay. Super. JA. The outside. Okay. Good. I think so. Yep. Said I. S, comma, escape, all, underscore, escape, all, comma, question, that. Oh man. If you have no idea what these commas and what the things are and what this asterisk is and everything else, you could really think like, you know, is this guy telling me something like a bunch of phooey? But it's real. T. Escape. User. Escape back. User. Man. And. D. Oop. D. Check this out. We'll go old school. We'll say TPT. TPT. Funnel user, escape /mander. Good. Okay. Source man underscore autocomplete. Gotcha. Now we need to cat into our include man.config h.in. Cat into that. We need to cat define web underscore browser exec /space user bin links. Check it. exec, good. Web browser, good. Define, good. Okay. Doing this long enough, you'll learn to read backwards. That's good for you. Say user bin. Got autocomplete. Colon. No colon. Okay. Good. And we'll say, yeah, I can't go up any. Define v grind we'll say define grep user bin grep. Okay, looks good. EOF. Cool. Say configure prefix equals user enable mb graph. Right. Disable set UID. I think that's right. Enable MB graph, say MG graph. Skating on the edge of just destroying everything here, ain't I? Okay. That's that. Tells enable MB graph tells man program to use ASCII 8 and Nippon graph devices for formatting ISO 8859-1 man pages. And the disable set UID. This disables making the man program set UID to user man. I don't know what that means. I know you'll get an error if you don't use it. You don't want no errors. It's not friendly with errors. You got errors, it's like make, it's like no. Nothing found. It's not friendly. It's like, okay, if you really want to, do you want to continue? It's none of that. You say make and it's like you got errors. It's flat out it'll tell you. You knew that by now. If you got errors on this thing, you'll be like, what the heck just happened? You know, can't continue because of errors. I will not go. Linux don't play. Okay. Convert. I'm gonna say mans. Cat into convert mans. Say EOF. Okay. I'm on page 179. Hope you're here. Dash E. Right. Okay. Now we'll say from equals $. That's a 1. Okay. The only reason why I know that's a 1 is because I really got up on it close, and plus this is a 2, right? So there's one number somewhere, there's probably another number. That's for sure. Shift space semi shift. Okay, right. Good. While say $pound is greater than 0. Make sure you keep these spacings right. Okay, just like in the book. Do enter. Now I'm gonna go in just as the book's got it written. I know I said watch your spaces any other time, but I don't know what this file does or what this thing's saying, so I'm gonna try to mimic the 1 right that's 1 right there. I'm gonna mimic this as best as I can. If I tab, I can't get in that far on tab. I can't get anywhere on tab. Okay, tab gives me something else. I don't want something else. I want to be able to move in right here. So you have to space it out. Not too much. Programs don't get down and dirty like this script does too often, so it's okay. Okay, $from, and we'll say T, and we'll say $2. We'll say $file. Okay, into .temp .icon. Okay, I think so. Check it before I screw up again. Saying iconfig from space to file into into .temp iconv. Looks good. Okay. We'll go in again and we'll say move .temp. Watch the dots. .temp iconv $sign file. Let's see if these two quotes line up. And they do. So we're done. Okay. Done. EOF. Writes it, and we say install M755 convert mans user bin. Cool. Done that. Okay, you can read more about that. There's something else too on page 118. I got hung up on a little bit here. It says I hope you see, it says make directory -p user share man French and okay, I'm not going to bother with that because I found out I don't need to bother with that. So we're okay. We're done ManDB, and we're going to remove ManDB now and go on to maketemp, mktemp, tarxvf, mktemp, cd into mktemp. We need to apply a patch, p-i, right, make temp 1.5 dash, add temp file patch, configure prefix. Where will we be without a tab key? I hope your keyboard's got a tab key. Because if not, geez, Louise. How are you going to get by in this world? But what is maketemp? I don't even know what that does. Maketemp package contains programs to use to create security temporary files. Okay, shell scripts. Okay. Great. That's what it does. We can also combine a make install into it, right? Why not? That's done. And then we cut out that. Let's just cut out and say make install temp file. Okay? Good. That's done. Make temp file. That's that. Module init tools. That's where we're going next. Remove, make temp module. You hear that talk, you know you're getting close. Modules. Kernel modules. You hear kernel, it's all over with. That's the last thing you do. Well, I think. I'm not certain if that's the very last thing, but I do know that when you hear module, when I hear module, it's time to wake up. So that's what I do when I hear module. Module tools. Let's say modprobe 1 patch. Good. Okay, and also too, when you see this type of syntax going down, page 183, you see what I'm saying? Like this stuff here. Module, you got configure and. When you see this syntax go down, if like that, and especially you see make anything dealing with make clean. If you've done a Gentoo, or if you're a kernel dude, if you played around with kernels, you see that syntax, you know it's about to go down. You know exactly what I'm saying. Make dep and make clean, make modules install. Make and. Yeah, you see that syntax, you know it's time to wake up. But we're getting close. Getting real close. Module init tools package contains programs for handling kernel modules in Linux kernels greater than or equal to version 2.547. Make dep mod. Dependencies. I think that's what dep mod is. You clean it up, and it's basically what it is. With kernels anyway. They give you that good stuff. But hey, here you go if you're a Gen 2 person. This looks familiar, doesn't it? Watch this. It's coming. It looked familiar to me. As far as Gen 2 went. All those dots and everything else. It's like when you went in through emerge. Excuse me. Man, I got a frog. It's like when you go in through emerge and merge sync, you know what I mean? Or you're downloading you're downloading a package or whatever like that. This is the output that you get while you're downloading a package or emerging a package. Merge with Gen 2 is like apt-get, sudo apt-get, apt-get with Ubuntu. Yeah, you start seeing that same look go down. It's kind of reminiscent. Okay. All right, we're done with that. We're not done. We're done with that. And we're going to say clear and configure make, okay, make this clean, okay. Now we need to say make, no make file, okie dokie. Oh man, good call, good call. This just got me confused. My little string I printed out here, because I seen the configure in front of it, I thought we already did this right here, which was the next step in the book, was to say configure prefix equals root. I got a little bumbled there. So I seen the no rule to make. It's alarming. But we're back. We got it. Good. Now we can say make. Now it has a rule to make. Even anything in Linux is like no rule to make stop. You know, it's point blank. It's not messing around. No rule to make stop. Not sorry, file not found. It's just nothing to make. I ain't got nothing. Okay, that's module init tools. And we can take out, now we can go back up and we can remove module init tools. Cool. And we can say part30.33of patch 254. Looks good. Dot configure. Oh, cd into patch 254. And say dot configure prefix equals user. It's good for patching stuff. That's what the book says. Make and make install. This contains patch. Short description patch. Blah 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 blah. pmisc. Oh yeah, that's right. We already did that before. We already did psmisc before. Thought I was remembering it. Well, I am remembering it, but I thought I was remembering it longer ago than I should be remembering it. That's what I want to say. psmisc. Or your pswalks. PS utilities processes, PS tree, good stuff. Prefix equals user, let's say exec dash prefix equals nothing. Right? Right. 2. Okay. You can read about that exec prefix thing. I don't know what that means. A lot of times too, I notice with Gen 2 especially, well, not especially, but some things are just made for certain things. And to actually study, you know, exactly what you need to do as far as, if you were to want to do this with your eyes closed, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it would be beneficial, you know, because if you say, alright, now that that's installed, you need to install this, and if that's installed, you need to install this. I don't know if that's beneficial or not. To use it, to use it on another, platform, you know, because that platform doesn't have the same tools and switches and configurations as this one may, you know, so to study all this verbatim, you know, word for word and line for line, you could use it on a 6.2 install, but you're not going to be able to use this on a 7.2 install. So that's what kind of where I'm leaning towards, you know. So basically, naturally, you want to know how, you know, to use fdisk or how to set up your disk through the back end or anything else like that, or, you know, the basic conventions, maybe, you know, your drop caches and all that stuff. Yeah, I learned that from around here. But when it comes to individual files and stuff, I don't know if it's good to, you know, study it line for line. I did that with Gen 2. And I found out after I split off of Gen 2 and I come here that frankly, I felt bad because I didn't know how to do this without looking at the book. But the book is only specific for this one. So when you go to another one and you start, you know, going off the top of your head with, you know, what this and that, you're going to run into problems. Because I don't know if you've seen or not. Even if you looked at enable shared without SE Linux, we got libdir, config libdir, config lib, and without SE Linux, looks good. I don't know if you noticed or not, but especially in 7.2, you download that PDF, look through that. That stuff's nothing like this. Nothing like this as far as, you know, direct conventions and everything else. Yeah, syntax is a little different, you know. They combine certain things. Even if you were to go back in time, if you go back in time to LFS 2.0 or 1.0 even, I got a LFS 1.0 book. When they go to make their file directories and structures, the syntax is a little different. Nobody's putting in curly braces. Nobody's making all these files at one time. Well, I think they are, but they're not using the same. They're not using the same things as we are. So, take pieces of this. You know, take pieces of how we're doing it, how syntax is going down, and everything else like that. But to learn it word for word, to be honest with you, I think it's going to take up space in your brain. You know, because as soon as you go to something else, you're going to not know how to really react, because it's not going to be conventional like this is. You know, so I learned that because I think a real man should be able to do all this with his eyes closed, and that's possible. But I think that real man will only stay at LFS 6.2, because when he gets to LFS 7, he's sure going to have to scratch his head. And with all that memorizing, you get enough operating systems under you, it's going to be like, can this guy do anything else but code? I mean, really, if you got all that brain power, I mean, somebody's gotta make the guy a dinner or something or whatever, because his brain is just totally consumed by a whole bunch of syntax. It makes no sense, right? We'll pause for a minute and take a look at this here. We say find man dash name make file. Word. Gotcha. Dash exe set I groups D. Gotcha. Okay. Good. That's that. Okay. Now I'm gonna highlight this on my screen. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna highlight this on my screen. And of course you can't see my screen. I can see my screen. If you go back to or you go back to my tutorials at tutorial 1, you can see my screen there. Hopefully you won't have to, because you're this far on your first time and everything is sunny for you. That's what I want for you. S at underscore C CH C N. I think that's it. Space ZH underscore T W // man make file. Okay. Sometimes highlighting works, but that orange that was just highlighting was really hurting my eyeballs, so I gotta come back and read this. Set IE SKO -E S space. Yeah, that's good. TW, that's good. That's great. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Clear this up. We got a for loop for I in DE ES FI FR French ID. I don't know, what's that? Idiot? I don't know. PT underscore BR. Do. Check it again. For I in Dutch, maybe. Espanol. Finnish. French. ID. IT. PT underscore R. Do. That's good. Convert. No completion. Mans. UTF-8 ISO -8859-1 man. I'm gonna say $, encapsulate the I / all dot question. It's like alien. Okay, looks good. Done. And we need to say, yeah, we're okay. Okay. And we need to say, we'll clear this up. We'll go to the next one. It says for I in CSHU P. Let me see if that's a 1. That's not a 1. That is not a 1. That's an L. Do. Convert. Mans. UTF-8 ISO. Oh, not all. UTF-8 ISO -8859 2. Yeah, 2. Man. I'm gonna say $, and I / that. This is all question mark. Take a second, look it over. I'll start demands and we'll say, hey, yep, that looks good, that looks good. Convert mans, UTF, yep. Okay, done. Don't get your man pages right, something bad will happen to you. Convert mans, UTF -8 EUC -JP man JA /all dot question. We'll just go with the dot question, that looks good. JA EUC JP UTF-8 convert mans, great. Okay. Using the up arrow convention. Okay. We're just gonna replace RU and what else here? We got KOI 8-R. That's good. R and the P line up over top of each other. UTF-8. That's good. Everything else is in line. Enter. And we have to go and let's take care of this. We'll say TR here. Okay. And we'll take out that. And we'll say ISO -8859-9. And let's look and see if the R and the question mark are over top of each other. And they are. Okay. And now page 198 says make and make install. Shadow is for security. Encryption. Shadow forces. It's like the what do you call it? The NSA shadow warriors, something like that. I don't know, I'm full of baloney. But that's what you need to do. And let this run its time. It says Shadow uses 2 files to configure authentication settings for the system. Install these 2 configuration files. That's what we're going to do next. I guess the 2 config files is etc limits and etc login.access. I think that's in there. I don't know, because I really didn't read that before. I just seen the blops and decided to do that. I guess it's kind of late to tell you to now. Don't copy and paste. Okay. On other tutorials I've seen, it was all copy and paste, right? And maybe that's why they failed. I don't know. But don't copy and paste. I was even watching something on Linux from scratch, like a well, I don't want to call it a lecture, but it was a Linux conference, maybe. I don't know if it was a conference, but it was something dealing with Linux, and a guy was talking about how he put on Linux from scratch and his adventure. And he also said that too. Don't copy and paste. Okay. You're spacing for you've seen it already. If you know you've gotten this far, your spacing can be different. You know, they have tab indents and everything else like that. And if you go throwing that into a script or anything else like that, you're gonna run into problems. Okay. You're gonna run into problems. So just type it out. I mean, at least you got crypt. I spell crypt. At least you got tab completion to kind of. I'm not gonna say cheat, because that's not the case, but to aid you. At least you got tab completion. But copy and pasting, you know, you'll run into problems. Okay? And then, you know, everybody's human and they don't want to run into a wall every day. So what's going to happen is you're not going to get farther. Because you're going to have the same problems because you're avoiding typing or whatever. and you're not gonna get the benefits of this, what this is supposed to do for you. This is not meant to be the next generation OS or anything else like that. It's meant to be a teaching tool. It's meant to show you and instruct you how to what goes on behind the scenes of a Linux system. If you copy and paste, you kind of lose all the essence of it. Just put the time in. If you do copy and paste and make it though, don't put your name up on a Linux from scratch I did it board. Alright? Don't do that, because you didn't earn that. You didn't earn that right to be there. Alright? Your fingers don't have calluses on them like all the people who sat down and actually did this line for line. Okay? So, don't fake the funk. And if you do, email me and tell me you faked the funk, so I can make a voodoo doll or something. Cheater. For mail. Now you're only cheating yourself. Really. There's no benefit in it. We got sadd var spool. Sadd var spool. Mail at. We got var mail. What? Okay. Yeah. Mail at. Var mail at. Okay, good. New line. Say Etsy. Etsy. Log in. Man, these doubles. Login dot defs into Etsy. I got completion, but I didn't want that much completion. Dot defs. Etsy login dot defs. Good. Etsy login dot defs. Good. Okay. Go. Good. Super. That note, if you build it with cracklib support, run the following. I don't know what cracklib support is, but I do know I never ran that before, and I've had success, so I won't follow that. So, okay, and we're gonna move our lib shadow. Excuse me. Move lib. Man. Move lib shadow dot all A. Okay. I guess maybe let's move all the A's. Move dot, maybe, I don't know. User lib shadow all A. Okay. Great. Now remove our lib shadow .so. Great. And link SPF up 1, up 2. Lib shadow SO. Great. User lib shadow dot. Gotta move the cursor. SO. Cool. Okay. Make directory v Etsy default. Right? Right. Alright. Configure shadow. Oh, not done with the shadow. Jeez. Group conv. Okay, let me say password root. Here we go. Remember your password. Please remember your password. Alright? Remember it. If you look at it real close too, you might have to do it. If you do it 3 times, that means that it didn't meet the requirements of what it was telling you to do. Okay? I have a 5-digit password that I just punch in, but I end up doing it 3 times. Does it matter? It doesn't matter if you don't mind doing it 3 times instead of 2. However, say in my case, it kind of qualifies for an error. Okay, so if you go to read, if it goes to read, maybe, I don't know. Anything's possible, right? you type in that 5-digit password, it doesn't meet the minimum requirements. It is 5, not 6. Run into an issue. Okay, so I use the 5 digits and 3 letters. You know what I mean? Anything could happen, and I don't want to have a failed install. We're done shadow, by the way. Remove shadow. I don't want to fail install because I didn't follow the rules of my password. Yeah, I don't think that's a far-fetched idea either. Because if you know, you could have a fail installed because your clock's not set. As with Gentoo, I couldn't compile my kernel. You know, you could have a failed install because of your clock. I mean, seriously, what else could you have a failed install for? So that's that. P-I sys k log d 141 fix patches. And what else? 141 8-bit 1 patch. Okay. Sysklog. Let's talk about what sysklog does in a second. Make install. Right? Right. Sysklog contains program login system messages, which those given by the kernel when unusual things happen. Okay. Do you know what sysklog means now? That's good, because I don't either. Okay. We'll say. But I do know in Gentoo you need it. And you need to set it as RC update default, right? Something like that. Or you need to set it as soon as you start up your system. I do know that. Well, I don't know if you have to. But I know I do. Because I've had some failed Gentoo installs too. And I think that by doing sysklog, setting it to default, I actually had success. I don't know. I probably didn't. It was probably just superstitious. You get very superstitious. I do anyway. When I'm doing an install like this. You get very superstitious. You know. It's funny. Okay, -var. No tab completion. -log. Or /log. auth.log. Okay, take a second. Auth priv, good. Var log, auth log, good. Good. Right? Right. Yep, looks good. Okay. And we say dot semi auth dot priv, not dot priv, auth priv dot none space var log sys.log var log sys.log and see if my S and G line up, and they do. So that looks good. Okay. We're gonna say daemon dot all var log daemon dot log, right? G and a slash line up. Sure enough. Looks good. We can continue. Kern dot go var log kern dot log. If you you can look ahead too. You know, when you look ahead, you'll notice patterns. If you notice patterns, you know, like for instance, I know var log. You know, that's all same pattern. And I need to add mail.log at the end because I added mail.log or mail at the front. You know what I mean? Observe patterns, so you don't have to read out every line. Well, you do have to read out every line, but it makes it a little easier for you. User.log. Okay. Here we go. Gen 2 all the way. And merge. Put a space there, that's for sure. Gen 2. Merge sync. It's like Power Rangers Go. Good old Gen 2. Okay. EOF signs the deal. That's that. sysklog is over with. No mas. Peace out, sysklog. Okay. Page 194, creeping up to 200. Looking hot. I'm gonna say sysvinit. Sysvinit in it. CD in the sysvinit. Excuse me. Say set I. S at sending processes at. Did I spell the processes right? Sure did. And started by init at G. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. Source init.c. Okay. Make C source. Okay. That's this should take like 1 minute. Not even. Something like that. Okay. And we got cleared up. And we take this last command. Let me just type install after it. And that's over. Okay. Clear. Alright, now this is where I screwed up before. I told you. Where I had the respawn time was just respawning constantly. Alright. So check these lines. Check these lines. Init tab. EOF. That's the init tab. We'll just say begin. Okay. ID. Stop. 3. Stop. Init. Default. Stop. Okay. Init default stop. ID 3. Gotcha. That ID is the run level, I think it is, that you hit. If you're not familiar with the run levels, I'm not really familiar with the run levels. But I think that means it's out of protected mode. Or for instance, when you see scrolling output, it's in protected mode, where or maybe you can't interface with it. Basically what's going on. So that ID level, I think, is what that's saying. But I'm probably wrong. But it sounds good. So we got SI stop, sysinit stop, etc rc.d, init.d, rc, sysinit. Okay. Excuse me again. Mouth gets dry and your throat gets all dry when you talk so much. Or would you rather me not talk? I mean, seriously. Lose your mind. Maybe you lost your mind already because you listened to me. I don't know. rc.d, init.d, rc space o. Okay. I'm going to take a second to look at that. 10 stop, O stop, wait, stop, Etsy, RCD, init. Yeah, it looks okay. Okay, we'll move on to 11. After 11, though, things get a little different, or they stay the same, is what I'm trying to say. That's a 1. That's a 1. Go with the 1. Wait. We'll say Etsy, rc.d, init.d, rc, offset 1. Look for the offset. Looks good. The rest of them, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. They're all the same. And this is probably where you copy and paste people want to jump in. Don't copy and paste. Go at it like a real Linux person. Okay? Two. Ion it. What does ion it do? Convert your computer to ions. RC2. Looks good. Okay. 13.3. Stop. Wait. Stop. Etsy. rc.d. init.d. rc space 3. Good. Etsy. rc.d. init.d /rc4. Remember, we're stopping on 6, okay? Don't go all like 18. 5, 15, 5. 15, 5, stop, wait. Stop, Etsy, rc.d, init.d, rc underscore, or no underscore, sorry, don't listen to that. Space, no underscore. 16 will finish this one up. Okay. So, that's that. rc.d, init.d, rc6. Okay. So after that, you're going to come down and you want to say, do with the CA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C Control L Alt Delete. Sound familiar? S bin shut down. It's been shut down. It's been shut down. T for time 1. Okay, 1 second. A R now. Okay. And again, Sue. We're going to say S. I think that's a 0. That's a 0. I'm pretty sure it's a 0. Okay, that's what we'll do. And once, stop. S bin. Sue. Login. The only reason why I know that's a 0 because if we go back up here and we look on the PDF, that's the same characteristics as that. Okay. Very sorry, it's very hard to see sometimes if these are 1s and 0s or 0s and O's and L's and 1s. Really, if you've been this far, you know what I'm saying. Okay. Now we're going to continue with these little thingies here. Good old respawns. Respawn. S bin. A Getty. TTY1. This is your consoles. Okay. Check that out. Make sure that's right. I'm gonna use this one as a marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Respawn. A Getty. Excuse me. 0. Good. This is your consoles, and this was what I had on my first install, was respawning its butt off. really, I had a Linux from scratch. It did boot up, but it just kept respawning. So I didn't feel like, well, I didn't sign the book because I was kind of guilty. Theoretically, I had a Linux from scratch. It started up. The kernel flipped over and everything. Everything was fine. It was in runtime, but I couldn't use it. I could use it if I went in and changed stuff, and scripts and all that stuff, and figured out the problem. But it was easier for me just to start over because there's a lot of documentation for Linux from scratch. A lot of documentation, period, for Linux. But if you take and Google the error, sometimes you don't come back. You go on a hog chase. And I didn't feel like getting into it. All I know is I had just put in a lot of time on a computer. I made my operating system. And it had a ton of bugs. So I said I did something. That was right. Until I came back about 8 months later and decided to do it, and all of a sudden I had no errors whatsoever. So then I really did something. That's when I signed the book. Or signed the site. Okay, 6. I'm gonna go 2, 3, 4, 5. Respawn. I guess on the first one maybe I typed in respawn 1,000,000. I don't know what it was. But I did something wrong. I didn't read. That's what happened. I need to read. And we'll just type in end. Okay. EOF. It looks good. Clear. Sysfinite done. Leave your Sysfinite alone. Sysfinite. Goodbye, Sysfinite. Tar. Bang. Tar's a little 2.2 SPUs. I don't even know how long this video is. Hope I don't have any problems making it or encoding it, because if I do, this is like half my tutorial just gone to crap, huh? The guys at the previous tutorial will be like, what? I have to make up a little note and say, sorry guys, I wiped out the other tutorial because I talked too long and didn't have enough resources to accommodate the machine. So it took a crap. You have to figure out the last 100 pages on your own. Sincerely yours, Linux guy. Go 100. Alright, I'm not talking about it, but I'm making 3 patches here. Book tells me to. You should be doing the same thing. Clear. That's what my operating system sounded like the first one I did. It was like, clear. It was terrible. Clear. Their respawn timer was going nuts. I couldn't even type anything into the command. As soon as I would begin to type anything, it would respawn. Frankly, well, exactly, is it respawning too fast? I was like, what the heck? I don't know what to do. User sbin, lib exec dir. Got bin/dir. Prefix user. Good deal. Yeah, it's respawning way too fast. I was trying to do a... I know exactly what happened. Well, I don't know exactly what happened, but I know one thing that happened was, with Gentoo I had a lot of problems. I installed Gentoo directly to the hard drive without, the machine. Okay? So, if you can imagine that, I took the hard drive out and I plugged it in USB via and my desktop computer, which was an Anthlon processor. So I had Gen 2 installed with the Anthlon processor, and then I took it out and put it in the old copper mine machine. Alright, so it wasn't machine specific. You know, it didn't go through all the hardware. The hardware is totally different on both machines. Okay, one was 6 years newer than the other machines. That was a problem, and that's what happened with that. I ran into a lot of problems with an initrid. How to make an intrid. Oh my gosh, I had a lot of problems with that. But tar. But after I stopped sticking the hard drive in different machines while I'm trying to install an operating system, I got Gen 2. And the importance of an intrid. You know, when your kernel boots up, you copy over your intrid. I know the importance of intrid now. Even with that, I think I was, with my Gen 2, I was installing a 3.06 kernel. The Linux kernels change so fast every day. You know that if you've been messing with them. Patch, I, text, info, multi-byte. You know, literally they change every day. And I had a new kernel. You know, I was copying I'd make old config, and it was I had a new kernel with an old config, and the config was all jacked up. And believe it or not, I found it easier to make this kernel over here. I'd never made a kernel before Gen 2, and I messed around with this. I copied the config out of this because it was on the same machine, just on a different hard drive. I copied the config out of that and moved it over to the other machine. So I just made old config with that new machine. So even though it had a 3.0.6 kernel, the configuration was the same. All the switches were the same on it, and that was a pain because you get into those higher kernels, and like I said, they have they got switches for everything. Infrared, one laptop per child support. They got switches for everything on there, and you don't know what to make. If you go default, and somehow you got something wrong, like you don't even have the hard drive in your machine, you got it plugged in up through another USB machine or something like that. It can be very misleading. To where the heck are you going? Do you have the configured kernel, or don't you have the configured kernel? That can be a pain in the butt, especially if you don't like to read. And there's not too many toots on it. I mean, there's some toots on kernel configuration, but who wants to go through all those switches, though? Just give me the basic. Give me the vanilla kernel, right? I got the vanilla kernel, and guess what? I had no idea what I was doing because I had the wrong kernel config. Or the kernel was actually probably too new for my system. I don't know. But anyway, we not talking about Gen 2 no more. This is better. I had Gen 2 Stage 3 was the best I could get as far as an install. And I thought I thought Stage 3 was out of hand at first. Like it was deep. I think that was deep. That's when I went to the forums. I typed in hardest Gen 2 or hardest I'm doing okay. 4FN. Oh, hardest Linux is what I said. I found Linux from scratch. Like, yeah. And there was actually someone in there who said, no way, Gen 2 is a lot harder than Linux from scratch. And that was only one person, though. I mean, like, 985 other people were like, you're out of your mind. And I was like, I want to learn the hardest. God knew the hardest would get me the farthest. And they weren't lying. This is some stuff, buddy. I'll tell you. Okay, now if you noticed here, excuse me, we are far out of our directory. Okay, that's okay because up top here, put a CD to user share info. All right. So if you list out, what'll happen? Okay. This is what's in user share info. We're done with text info, but we're not even on our directory. Okay. So nobody told me that either. Take your butt back over to the sources directory, where all your sources are. Okay. And you can remove what did we just leave? You can remove text info. Text info. Okay. So we're back on track. XVF. UDEV. Oh, that. Okay. We're going to CD into UDEV. CD UDEV 96. And we need to tar-xf. Nuvi. We don't get to see this. This ain't gonna talk to us. It don't want to talk to us. It's mad at us. Install. DV. Say lib. We're gonna say firmware. Say dev. UDEV. Devices. / PTS. Shem. Okay, let's check it. Firmware UDEV / UDEV devices, great. PTS Shem, great. DV, super. Looks good. Okay. Those two brackets are supposed to be that close. Not a typo. Okay. Clear. And we're going to say make node. 666 lib UDEV devices all C13. I don't know much about hooking into the kernel or anything else like that, or actually how the kernel's going down. So can't really explain too much about what's going on. Because that's why I'm using Linux from scratch, or why I want to. So I want to learn more about the Linux kernel. The kernel is super. Lib UDEV devices FD. Okay. The D and FD and 3 above it line up. We're fine. Are we fine? Proc self FD. Lib UDEV devices FD. Great. Okay. Now, instead of typing everything out, we'll just cut out FD. We'll say standard in. Okay. We'll come back over here. And we need to leave FD here and say, 0. Okay. Say proc self FD 0 lib UDEV devices SDN. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there, and we'll say SD out, and come back in here. I think this is 1. Yep, that's a 1. Excuse me again. I want to make it if I don't die. It's like if I died on YouTube. Wow. Okay. That's that. Okay. We're gonna take out this here. We're gonna type in core. We're gonna go all the way. You know what? Let's not even flirt with it, because I don't want to get confused. Link, and we'll say proc kcore lib UDEV devices this is a little funky one here. We're going to say make extras, okay, equals. Only one this time. I usually put two and just fill in between them, spread them out as I type, but only one. Say extras / ATA _ ID. Extras / CD-ROM _ ID. Space extras / EDD _ ID. Right? Check it. ATA extras, extras. Read all about it. Looks good. Okay? And then we're going to say extras. Say firmware. Space extras / floppy. Space extras / path _ ID. New line. Okay, let's check that out again. Extras / firmware. Extras / floppy. Extras / path ID. Great. Extras / SCSI _ ID. Extras / USB _ ID. And extras / volume ID. Check it out. SCSID. Extras USB ID. Extras volume ID. Great. Okay. Now, before we do anything, add that quote. Okay. Okay. If we added the quote together at the top, we would have had problems. Right now, it's I think it's making kernel nodes. I'm pretty sure. Well, we can read it. Page 200 says, create some kernel devices and directories that UDev cannot handle due to them being required very early at boot process. So, and modules maybe? Or is it nodes? Well, we made nodes. Maybe they're modules. I don't know. But, especially you kernel people, you know what this is. You know what that is. It's very close. Very close. You know that. So, that's made. Now, the next one on page 200, we're going to clear this up. The next one on page 200 is the same thing here. Okay? Just with a couple added things. Let me start first. I'm going to skip all the way back to the front. Okay? Hope you used your up switch. You don't have to type this out again. Okay? First, we're going to take... excuse me. We're going to take the make out. We don't need that. And we're going to say make dest dir. Jesus. Dest dir. Okay? Equals / Then we're going to go space. Then we're going to say new line. Okay? And leave it alone. Yeah. Just leave it alone. Okay? And then we're going to skip all the way out here to the back. And we're going to say install. Okay? Enter. Good. That's done. No. We're not done, but that is done. Okay? Let me say copy udev -config 6.2 encapsulate O/9 all to Etsy udev rules d / leave the slash. That's what you need. Leave it there. It looks just like that in the book. Leave it there. Install M644 capital D V docs writing udev rules index HTML new line user share doc udev -096 no tab complete no more /index No tab complete anymore. .html. So that's what that is. We can read the bottom line because we didn't have any tab complete on the bottom line. So just check that out. We got user shared doc, udev-96 HTML. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. UDev's done. UDev is done. Get away from UDev. They're getting more complex, ain't they? Yeah, they are. That's how you know the end is near. The end is always near. That's great. That's great. Hope the end ain't always near. I want to wake up tomorrow. Okay. Uterlinux. Extract uterlinux. No, uterlinux. Uterlinux. cd into uterlinux. Okay. Now we're going to say set I s at Etsy / adj time. adj time at var right lib / hardware clock. Okay. / adj time at g. Check it out. Set at Etsy at adj time at var. And we're gonna look at that. Double L's on the lib. Good call, people. Thanks for hollering. Hardware clock. adj time at g. Okay. And we're gonna say hardware clock. We've got tab completion, which is cool. Clock dot c. Okay. And we got a make directory. Make directory p. We're gonna say var lib hardware clock. Hardware clock. Good. That's done. I'm gonna say patch and say np-i up on uterlinux. No, uterlinux cramfs .run configure. It says 2 minutes. We'll give it 2 minutes. Better than 2 minutes, huh? We'll say make have _kill equals yes space have _slv no sln, right? sln. Yes. My V's and N's look the same now. They would to you too if you kept going like me. Maybe you did keep going like me, but maybe you're not screencasting like me, so you're not actually up for it ever. Your build time's normal 12 hours or 14 hours or 16 hours at worst. My uptime is like years. It's great. That's what that does. Have kill, yes, this killed program already installed proxies from being built and installed again. I don't know. I don't know what the other stuff means. Doesn't come with a test suite. I don't think we're gonna run any test suites anymore. I don't know, maybe we are. All the commands and entering in commands stop, I think, around like 230 or 240. I think it's more like 240. All that stuff stops around, all this good stuff stops around 240, and you got the appendix and the back of the book and everything, so, but, yeah, all the programming stops around then, so, I don't know if we have any more test suites. Ugh, Vim. Clear. Remove. Ulinux. No, Ulinux. Alright, Vim. XPF. I don't like Vim. Sorry. I don't like Vim at all. I don't like Vi. Even though you gotta use it. I really don't like Vi. There's too many. I didn't grow up on Vi. Maybe I should have grew up on Vi and I'd have been alright. I didn't grow up on anything, so never mind. But I shouldn't. I don't like Vi. Vim. I don't like. I guess Vim is a part of Vi, or was Vi, right? Or not was, but has similarities. 7.0. What the heck's going on here? Let's go see what we did. We extracted 7.0. Okay. Let's list and grep Vim. Yeah, Vim 70. No dashes, guys. CD into Vim 70. I just don't like Vim. And Vi. Nano? Yeah, okay. I love gedit. I love gedit, but that's a graphical. And if I'm not going to be a graphical guy, well, I used Vi. I did a tiny core install. I mean, maybe I'll do one of them too to show you people how to do that. Because tiny core Linux, little guy, little teeny tiny Linux. I had no idea how to install the daggone thing. I wanted it, but it was so little. You know, you're only not you're smaller than Puppy. All right. I mean, you're like a 35 megabyte solid holding. Not even that. You know what I mean? You're small. I forget how small you are, but I think you might even be 25 megabytes now. And spell file patch. The whole CD is 50 megabytes. Alright? Puppy Linux, I don't know if you know Puppy Linux or not. Puppy Linux is great. That CD is like 128 megabytes. Okay? So, but anyway, tinycore vimrc underscore file. Gotcha. Wait, do I gotcha? I think so. Tinycore, in order to install Tinycore, you had to command line install it. I lost somebody here. Okay, back over here. You, come here. Put you back here. You had to command line install Tinycore. And this is before I knew about catting into a file or anything. So I had to use Vi as the editor. And find sysvimrc. You know, if I mistype something here or there, I can't just back up. It's like, you know, I gotta go through the whole thing, and it does that thing, and erases my lines, the whole line. You know, I only messed up on one thing. I didn't mess up on the whole line. It trashes my whole line. And you know what? That's the other thing too. Multi-byte, right? Yeah, multi-byte. Enable. Okay. That's the other thing too. You know, I don't like it. That's okay. There are people that like it. And the reason why I was messing up is because I had no idea what I was doing. Alright. So, even when you get this far, right? I might sound like frankly, I might sound like a douche talking and everything. Okay? And being all calm. And when I screwed up, I didn't yell or cuss or anything. Because when it all boils down to it, if it messes up, it's a machine. Okay? It's a machine. It only does what you tell it to do. Alright? And the reason why it messed up is because you messed up. So, just basically discipline yourself to pay attention. That's it. There's no point in getting angry with a machine, because it's only doing what you told it to do, you know. And if you know what you're doing, there shouldn't be no reason. You just go. So, but anyway, with Vi, I was getting mad. Vi used to make me upset, and you know, I just don't have the time to learn Vi. I should learn Vi, and I should learn Vim, but you know, and I will. I guess I'll have to. Or I'll just keep catting the files while I use my Linux from scratch installed. You know what I mean? You either learn it or you don't. You know, or maybe I'll go find another thing and configure that to run on this. You know, I really don't like Nano either. I kind of really don't like Nano. I see the prospects for Vi. Well, I'm sure other people do too, but you know, it's I think with Vi there's a lot of parts on the keyboard that you need that are kind of too much. You know what I mean? You know, it's like escape, you know, :I does this does that, and if you go back into user mode, well, the R does this, and to move a line, you gotta press the L and the R. It's like, ugh. You know, I'm not down with all that. That's too much info on a text editor, I think. You know, I have to just put it there and leave it. You know what I mean? Or you go back into it and push the backspace and it deletes one character. Why do I have to go into user mode and go into edit mode? And I don't like that. But I talk all that now. I don't know. I don't know enough about it not to like it. Anyway, tinycore though. I had like 5 lines to put down on the menu.list. Oh my god, it would take me forever. It would take me forever because I'd get 3 lines down and screw up, and then it's like, I'd have to trash the whole file. It was easier for me to trash the whole file than even try to figure it out. So, but I looked on some Vi stuff, figured out how to use that a little better. And really, because Vim looks like Vi, hey, guess what? I don't trust Vim. How's that sound? I don't trust Vim to be any easier. Vi's not easy at all. Vi's for Martians. But I don't trust Vim. So I don't like Vim. That's why I don't like Vim. How's that sound? Got my whole life story on how I don't like something. But it doesn't matter what you like or don't like. If you need it, well, there you go. We're going to say user share Vim. Vim 70. Tab complete. Tutor. Tab complete. Tutor. Dot. GR. PL. That's an L. RU. We're using a SK. These are country names or dialect names. Okay. User share, that's all great. Okay. Now I'm going to leave this up and go back here and erase all the way back to where it says tutor. I'm going to say dot question that. Okay. See if the P or see if that and that lined up. The asterisk and the comma lines up. Good to go. Okay. I'm going to say link SV Vim no command completion user bin Vi. Okay. For capital L in nothing. French, Italiano, PL. I don't know what the PL is. Russian. Philippines? I don't know. We talk about the Peloponnesians again? Is it Peloponnesian? Who knows? Do Vi. tab complete here. Do not tab complete here, because it'll throw you off. Okay? Just type the rest of these out. If you tab complete, this is a number 1. Number 1 at the end. Man 1 and number 1. Vim 1, 2 in the front. Listen. Number 1. Man 1. Vim dot 1. Lowercase l for link. Okay? Dig that. If you tab complete, I don't know if you noticed or not, but with say if we said LFS, right? If you tab complete that, what that's going to do is it's going to show you your path when you tab complete. It switches from the $LFS to your path, and that would switch to your $ path in the other thing there. So that threw me off because you know me, I'm always tapping on a tab, and that's what happened. I'm not getting any tab completion here, so I'm going to say link again, and I'll say Vim. And I got Vim 70/doc, no completion. Gotcha. User share doc Vim dash 7.0. User shared doc Vim 7.0. Okay. Why did that happen? Don't know why that happened. Let's go and add it again. Back up. We'll say Vim 70 doc link Vim 70 doc 2 user share doc Vim dash 7.0. I don't know what happened on the last one. Not even gonna think about it. I'm just gonna keep going because hey, maybe Vim heard me talking about it. I don't know what happened. VimRC. What is this? I don't know. Instead of using the pound as a comment, we're going to use the commas for comment. That's how they got it in the book. So I'm only going to type in begin. So now you want to say set space no compatible. No compatible. Okay. Set back space equal to 2. Okay. Syntax on. Okay. And we're going to say if space, encapsulate this, and term space equals, okay, or is equal, exactly equal to, that's what that means, space, I'm going to say pipe, space, encapsulate these, and term is exactly equal to, not less than or equal to or less than. Yeah, that's not good. Item. Not good. Term. And term. If term, okay. I'm going to say set background equals dark. Man, I gotta stop these errors. Background equals dark. And if comment, or no, let's go enter. I'm going to say end. Okay, and we'll say EOF. Okay. Then we go into Vim, C, options. There it is. Oh, ugly butt. Okay, I'm not going to mess around with this. I'm just going to hit escape. Down here at the bottom, you'll see that the colon changed. Or escape and colon. At the bottom here, it's waiting for a response if you've never used this before. Okay, let's say quit. Okay, and I'm going to hit colon again, and then Q at the bottom again to quit. Just getting right out of it. Don't need it anymore. Okay, Vim is installed. That's all I care about. Here's a nice little text editor to do your things. If you mess up a line, now you have the option to change it, but I mean, I do mess up a lot, but it's it's daggone Vim. Ain't messing with Vim. Vim is gone. Okay, now this is we're on page 212. It says to strip again. Guess what? We never stripped the first time. That's why I told you don't worry about it. Okay. We say chroot $LF. Alright, let's echo out $LFS. We got nothing. Okay. So remember, if we were to say chroot $LFS, well, like I said, if we echo out LFS, we have a blank path. It's not good. Okay. And that the reason why is because you will, on yours, you'll have, if you went through all the way and nothing happened bad to you, if you echo out LFS, you should get some output. You should get mount LFS. Okay. If you don't get mount LFS, you shouldn't have made it this far anyway. But I can't chroot $LFS because if you remember. If you remember, yesterday, my machine crapped out on me. Okay, so I'm just going to say chroot. Instead of saying $LFS, I'm going to use the exact path with it, that it would be as a variable. Okay, mount LFS. Okay, I'm probably the same as you. Hopefully I am. Hopefully you are the same as, this is, but that's what I'm going to do. Because I have had problems. Maybe you didn't have problems. You probably did everything right. I had problems. Home is going to... shit. Get out of that. Let's clear it up again. Alright. I got big fingers today. Let's say chroot. Where are we? We're at root. Okay. Log out. We're going to say chroot mount LFS. That's where we're going to change root to. Tools. Bin. BNV. -I. And before I hit the enter, without the new line or something happened like that. Home equals root. Term is going to equal $term. PS1 is going to equal escape U, stop, escape W, escape that, space. I think so, right? Yep, you guys said okay, so here we go. Path is going to equal bin stop /user /bin stop sbin stop. It's going to say user sbin sbin. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yep. $sign in the end lineup. So does the other thing. We're good. Okay. And we'll say tools tools bin bash, tools bin bash, login. Thank God that worked. Holy stromboli and moly. Who am I? Who am I? I'm Batman. Okay. Tools bin find. Let's say user. And then we're gonna encapsulate bin lib s bin. Okay. Take in type F. Look at it. Tools bin fine. Shama. Bin lib s bin. exec. Tools bin. Say strip. That's 2 slashes. I didn't mess up that time. Debug. Quotes, curlies, quotes, semi. Enter. You'll see file format not recognized and all that stuff. It talks about that before. Okay. It talks about that somewhere in LFS. And I really don't worry about it. I get it sometimes. Well, a lot of times, as you can see, but I really wouldn't worry about it. And it tells you about stripping conventions too. If you want a real late OS, I mean tiny, well, this is not tiny, but LFS is not the latest anyway, but or smallest anyway, I want to say. It's not the smallest anyway, but it tells you conventions on how to strip, and I think it's just something like stripping libraries, stripping binaries, or something like that. I don't know, but you want to watch out. Okay. Now, I don't know if we're supposed to do this or not, but I'm going to exit this, okay? I'm going to log out again. And I'm going to log back in. Okay? And remember, if your LFS variable works, that's fine. If not, then give it a path. Okay? User, bin. What happened here? Oh, yeah, it's sticky like a... Man, that was sticky. I started typing and nothing was coming out. Oh, I lock up. Hope not. Stripping through my back out. User bin env-i. Okay. Home is going to equal /root. Term is going to equal. Get these here. Term. And PS1 variable, or not variable, but PS1 is going to equal escape U stop, escape W, escape that, space, yeah, okay. I'm going to take a pause and look at this. CH root, that's not LFS. Alright, you hate me now. I'm starting over with that. Okay. Now, LFS. User. Bin. env-i. There we go. Home equals /root. Term equals $term. Right. Good. PS1 is going to equal escape U stop, escape W stop, but not stop. Don't stop believing. That's that. Okay. sbin stop user sbin. Escape out. Okay. And bin stop user bin stop. Sbin stop user sbin. Okay. Bin bash dash login. Super. Anytime now I have to deal with that, it's just terrifying for me. This morning, such a tragedy. Alright, we got LFS boot scripts to go through. I could stop and encode this video or just risk losing it all and compile the kernel and leave it alone. This won't take long. So let's go. Home stretch. Home stretch. Okay. I'm gonna untar our LFS boot scripts. CD LFS boot scripts. Okay. Page 215. We're gonna make install. Okay. You can read about how the boot scripts work. I'm not. There's man pages here about how they work, what to type in and all that stuff like that. I'm going to tell you where I'm going to go. I'm going to skip down to 223, okay, and I'm going to do what it tells me. It says cat into etc sys config clock. Okay, back out EOF, and it says begin. That's what I'm going to say. UTC equals 1. I guess that's for UTC time, okay? Doesn't matter if you have UTC time or not, but it does, I guess. I set up UTC time, and I have no problems, so I'm going to do that. If that wasn't there, you could run into a problem as we did with the LDSO config file, and you know, you could just get a random error just for that not being there, okay? So on 225, you'll see stuff for configuring the console, stuff like that. Okay, different from UTF-8 and everything else like that. I'm not worried about that. That's okay for me. I'm fine. Okay. If you're in America, you're fine. All right. If you have some other different kind of keyboard layout or all that stuff, that's what you got to worry about that. Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. I'm right. Yeah. Okay. Ain't worried about that either. That's cool. Page 228. All right. Say etc input not in the tab, input Johnny 5, anybody seen that movie? Input RC. Remember Johnny 5 needed input? That's how I feel. You just say begin, spaced out. Okay, you can read all about this stuff here. I'm not going to read about it. I will, let me put up some markers. I'll say allow. Okay, we'll start below that. Say set horizontal scroll mode off. It's not a 0. I thought it was a 0. Why would a 0 be in a word? I don't know. I thought it was. Horizontal scroll mode off. Good. Okay, we'll skip down. We'll say enable. That's where I'll just call it that. Set meta dash flag on. Okay. Keep these nice and tight. You screw up here, you had to read you the whole thing, and it goes on for quite a distance. Set meta flag on. Set input meta on. Okay, super. Skip down the line, we'll say turn. That's all. Set convert meta off, the capital L. that's 8-bit stripping. Okay. Okay. And we'll say keep. It's 8. Keep. And we'll say set output meta 1. Right? Right. Okay. Use this as a marker. None. We'll say set bell. Set bell style. Set bell style. None. Now, I set bell style none. There we go. Okay. Okay. Now it says a whole bunch of other stuff. All the following map sequences value contained inside the first argument to the read line specific functions. That's what that said. Okay. So I'll just use that. Okay. Now we're going to say quotes. We're going to say E capital O D. I thought that was 0, but it's not. And I know that because I looked back at the book. Alright, the book's got capital O for on, or whatever, or off, you know what I'm saying? So, look back at the book. See how those characters, the fonts are a little funky. Space, you need a space. You say backward, dash word, EOD space, backward, dash word. Okay. And we're going to say escape E, capital O, C. Watch out too, your colons and semis. I've screwed up a couple times where semis actually stuck. And I had to restart the whole script. I had to restart my machine. I restarted the script, but I lost the script. Okay. We'll just say 4 as a marker here. That's for Linux console. Okay. I'm going to say escape E. That part of a bracket, tilde, come out of it. Okay, space. I'm going to say beginning. Beginning. Oh my god, don't tell me I spelled beginning wrong in front of thousands of people. Okay, of line. Okay, check this thoroughly before you go. Beginning of line. Good. E. And we're going to say half bracket. Yeah. Watch the colons and the semis. End of line. Okay. They match up, right? Sure. E. See on 4, we're on 5. 5. Tilde. Stop. Beginning of history. Okay. Okay. 6 is end of history. Say E. 4, 5, 6, 6. 6. End of history. History. End of history. Everything's lining up. Looks good. 6. Okay. And escape E. Yeah. This is going to be 3. 3. Colons. Watch your colons. Messed up. I messed up. Before. Not now. Not yet. Delete char. Okay. Looks good. And we're going to say escape E. Half bracket. 2. Tilde. Stop. Be quoted. Quoted insert. Quoted insert. Cert. Now this is going to use as a marker, and I'll just say X term. Let me not put it like that, because who knows what the heck could happen. Okay. And I'm going to say escape E, O, H. O as in opera, not number. O. Okay. I'm going to say beginning of line. Yeah. UH. Why does it seem so easy? Something's wrong. Everything's going right. Something's gotta go wrong. I know it. Let's feel it. Oops, see, look, it did go wrong. Look at me. Look at me. Talking all that junk. Okay. EOF. I'm gonna say end of line. Dig it. That's good. And now we're going to use this as a marker and say console. That's all. And we're going to call that half bracket H. Capital H though. Not too many quotes. Okay. Escape E half bracket H. Okay, looks good. And then say beginning of line. Right? Right. And escape E half bracket capital F colon end of line. Okay. Now down here just type in end EOF. Thank God that's over with. I hate that script. Okay, we need to say locale all. Locale. Clear this up. Get away from the devil. I'm not religious, I'm just saying. Get away from that thing. Alright. Say locale all. Locale. Out of California. Okay, this is all of our locales. Okay. You can read more about the locales, but I'm just going to type them in. I'm not really going to talk about them too much. We're too close to talk about that. Okay? I think this is what I do. I always had a problem here. Let me type in locale char map. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Or you can look on 231, it says for the English script, but it's ISO locale, above you'll see the blah 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 print. Okay? So, that's that. Let me not clear it. I'm going to type in, let's see, English, US. We'll say locale languages. Did I spell that wrong? I spelled language wrong? I did spell language wrong, didn't I? I did spell language wrong. And how come I can't spell it right? That's the worst part. What the heck? Hold on here. It's not edges. It's edge. Okay. Alright. It's not to just spell it wrong. How come you can't spell it right? That's terrible. Alright, we're just going through these motions here, okay? These are what it says to do to make sure that these all work. Okay? So, I guess it's like a check, but not really like a check. But good enough for, it's worth showing, worth doing. Good done. Okay, and it says if you find if you see stuff like locale cannot set locale all, set default locale blah blah, then you got a problem. Okay, hopefully you didn't run into any of that. Okay, we're not going to clear out because we're going to use stuff up top here for a reference, and we're going to say Etsy profile EOF. Right? Yeah. And say begin. That's it. I'm going to say export lang. sure. We just gotta put the dashes in. I think there's a time that like you don't put them in, and there's a time when you do put them in. I don't know. Should I know? I don't know. I don't know. Let me pause for a second here and think about this. For instance, I was rather not. So actually, character maps, dashes, blah blah blah. All right. Better safe than sorry, right? Right. Let's clear that out. Okay. I'm not gonna write to the Etsy profile yet, because we gotta figure something out. If I say LC, we're gonna go back up to page 230. LC underscore all equals locale name. I'm gonna say English underscore US. Always have a problem here, and I don't know why. Don't know why. Okay. If I type in .iso 88591, that's wrong. Okay. I'm gonna say ISO dash 8895-1. Let's see if that says nothing. Let's do some reading, why don't we? Char maps. To determine the canonical name, run the following command where local name is the output given by local A. Okay. For locale. In our example. Okay. Let me try this out here. Locale. Char map. Okay. Alright, so, hey, out of a process of blah blah blah, we'll just, let's test this. ISO 88591. Nothing. Okay, we're wrong if we're right. That's good. Okay. I didn't know whether to put one in there with dashes, if it was supposed to be, if you're supposed to insert that into the Etsy profile, okay, or if you're supposed to insert the one with the dashes in the Etsy profile. And I'm pretty sure last time I used the dashes, or the last 3 times. I don't know. Maybe I alternated, but they both look right. So, we'll just continue. Etsy profile. EOF. Say begin. Say export language equals English US dot ISO 8859-1. Okay, modifiers. You'll see that on page 231. You got the char map inside of the less than and greater than signs, and you also have a at modifiers in the less than and greater than. If you're in another country, if you need the at euro locale, yeah, if you need that at euro, add that where the modifiers is. All right. If not, just roll. Just roll. Export input RC equals Etsy input RC. I think that's it. Looks good, right? Yes, just go already. Okay. You said it. Okay. That's done. Okay, configuring. We're gonna clear this up. Let's say configuring the local net script. Okay, so you're gonna echo host name. This is a net script. Get help on this if you have problems. If you need to get online right away with your LFS, search this out. I don't really. I haven't messed with it, so I don't mess with it. Okay, so I don't need to get online right away. Alright, so I haven't put the time into it. But I do know if it's not here, if this file is not here, and you go to install kernel or something, and you get an error because the file's not here, you're going to have a bigger problem than you being able to get online. Okay? So sysconfig network. Echo that into that. Sunk it. Okay. That's the host file. Page 243. We're going to say cat into Etsy hosts. Okay. EOF. Okay. Now just say begin. And our local host number, which is 127.0.0.1. Local ping back. That's what we want to put. My IP, like I said, I'm not configuring any Ethernet right now. So I'm just making it present so that this stuff is here, so it can be read. Alright, that's done. Okay. They also it's on 243. They also have another alternative configuration. Alright, udev test blocks. I do new. Let me type that in to see what happens, because I think I had a problem with this too. You gotta find out your CD-ROM drives and all that stuff. And I'm not gonna load any, unable to open block HDD. That's not a problem. I never use that anyway. Alright, if I need to configure my CD-ROM drive or anything else, I just want to get the system up and running. I don't care about drives. Okay? And you know, it's not that big of a deal. I can always research later on. So, but at the same time, these files should be here in case they need to be touched or anything. Okay? So you don't have to say anything to them. Just make sure they're there so you get your kernel up. Cat etsy udevrules.d 82 cd-rom.rules 82-cd-rom.rules. Looking good. Okay? And in here I'm just going to put nothing. No. How about that? That's even better. EOF. End file. Okay? There's two different alternative configurations for that. Video stuff. Duplicate dev rules. 82. I'm just going to type in. I'm on page 236. It says to cat into your duplicate device rules list. I don't even think on the last one I even did this, but I'm just going to do it just in case. Because I hate to fail over me not having a file set up showing that I have a CD-ROM drive. Or two CD-ROM drives in this case. Duplicate udev dot rules EOF. Check it out. 83 duplicate dev. Look at that. Thank God for eyeballs. Okay. Okay. Man, look at that again. What's wrong with this guy? Some mashed potatoes or something. Okay. Good. Done. UF. Done. Okay. Moving right along. Bijabada. It says here we have to let's say grep 237. We have to say grep h dot sys class net address I think. These are my Ethernet MAC addresses here. All right. You see, I got 2 Ethernet cards in this device, in this computer. All right, that's Ethos 1, Ethos 2, or Ethos O, Ethos 1. Okay, starting at 0, you're still equal to 1. Ethos 2. Okay. This is my loopback address. I'm pretty sure I have a loopback MAC, but it's not set, so I'm not worried about it. Okay. But cat into Etsy. udev rules D 2626 network dot rules. Okay, take a pause. It's too late in the game to stop looking. Okay, network rules. udev, gotcha. Good. None. I can come back to it later. Gotta get it up and running. Okay? It has alternate configuration down there for it. You don't need that. Well, if you do need that, I don't know. You check that out later. Let's keep on moving, Sammy. Sysconfig. Network. And devices. And make directory for both ifconfig dot etho. That's a cap. That's a 0, not a O. That's a 0, not Oscar. 0, like broke, no money. Okay. ifconfig dot etho, and I'm gonna cat into if config dot etho. Again, that's a 0. IP version 4 EOF. Let's check it out, make sure everything's alright. Okay, the etho in line 2, the 0 in line 2 I'm saying, and IP4 in line 3, the P and the 0 align over top each other, and it looks good. EOF looks good. Okay. Now we're going to capitalize on and boot. Okay. Equals yes. Service equals IP version 4 static. Got yourself a static IP. Gotcha. Cool. IP equals, if you know your IP, hey, do it right now, why not? Dot 168 dot 1 dot, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be? Let's go 1, you don't really, 118, I don't never go that high. Okay? Okay. It's a gateway equals 192.168.1.1. Okay. Prefix equals 24. Okay. Say broadcast equals 192.168.1.255, I think. Yeah, I was right. Okay. EOF. Alright. This is basically saying you're going to bring up your Ethernet cards on boot. Alright, now I know we didn't configure our Ethernet, okay? But this is for when you do configure Ethernet. Alright, point blank, my ifconfig.ethos file, if it's not here, the kernel's gonna, if the kernel comes through and needs that or anything else like that, I don't want it to say an error and throw an error into my kernel because this file does not exist. So if I'm gonna make this file, maybe even touch it or timestamp it, if I'm here and I can at least fill it with some type of data that's not too hard as far as like finding your Ethernet card or anything else like that, I'm fine with it. Okay, so it's gonna say on boot yes. All right, Service is going to be IP4 static. Okay, great. Your IP address, whatever IP address you want. Now, I'm not going to go really into how IP addresses work, okay, how they work, but, you know, if you can pick one, okay? Your gateway, not going to go into how gateways work either, but that's your out, okay? If you have a router, say if you have a Cisco or a Linux router, Linksys router or anything like that, you got to know gateways, and that's the way out. That's where your router's at. My router's at .1.1, okay? 168.1.1. Your router, I got a Belkin. I changed it, okay? It was 2.1, so that would be my gateway. That's out. That's the avenue out, okay? Prefix is 24. Not sure what that does, but I kind of know. I don't want to tell you something wrong. Broadcast is how many channels you're going to broadcast, or how many IPs can you broadcast to. So you're not hiding from anybody on the net, on your local net, okay? So 255 is the maximum that you can broadcast out to, okay? That's done. Cool. Super. Okay. Now we need to make our cat into Etsy resolve. Resolve.config. I learned that from Gen 2. Resolve. Okay. Begin. And we'll say domain. What's your domain? I don't know. I'm just going to put this down for my domain. Okay. Name server. Just put it down again. Doesn't matter. If this fails, it's okay. We still have a file. Rather fail with a file than fail because we never created the file. Okay? And as you know, that can happen. Okay, making it bootable. Here we go. If you notice where we are, look at your path, okay? You're in the sophisticated network devices, alright? Because that's where you ended up, okay? Oh, malfunction. Okay, that's where you ended up. And it's okay. It's okay. Clear again. You're okay. List it out if you want to. There's your stuff in there, alright? Watch how you're writing stuff in here, but you're okay. Because even though you're writing stuff in here, you're not really saving stuff in here, unless you save stuff in here. I hope that made a lot of sense. But for me right now, we're gonna shoot this up to the Etsy fstab. You know, we're not shooting into the Etsy sysconfig. Okay, we're writing Etsy fstab, so we're okay. We can be anywhere, and we can be everywhere. Can we? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. Okay. This is your FS tab. This is your file system tab. This is what you see when you go to say when you look for your, let me do a BL kit or something like that. File system. Space these out a little bit. If you're using Vi or Vim or something like that, you probably have a better off way to space it out, but I'm not going to use them, that's for sure. Type. I'm going to call options, and we're going to say don't FS check order. Okay, and comment this out again and go all the way over to here and just give it order. Okay, that's all we gotta do. Okay, now we get to write our stuff. Alright, so first one is dev. We want to call up where our operating system is. Okay, now I put mine on HDA1. Okay. If your root file system is somewhere else, you need to change that. If you're installing next to something or whatever, if you're on HDA3, put in HDA3. Now, if you're SDA as well, put in SDA, not HDA. That means something. It really does. Okay. Type. Type we choose ext3. Okay. Back this up, clean it up a little bit. Okay. Options are default options. D. default. It's yes. Okay. And the dump order and check order. Okay. I think I learned this somewhere in Gen 2. I think I'm right. Saying if when you FS check your hard drives, it's gonna check this one first. Because I guess you put it under priority 1 or something like that. Okay. Or this is the drive to be checked. Maybe that's what I want to say. Alright, this is your swap. Where did you put your swap? I put mine on HDA2. Mount point would be under swap. Okay. Type, we'll say swap. This is priority 1. Okay, and that's not FS checking. Pretty sure. No, it can't be FS checking because this is FS check. And you're not getting swap checked. Okay? Probably 1. There we go. Next line. We're going to say proc. Okay? That deals with your kernel. Let's say proc again. Type. Type is it? Oh, it's proc. And we're going to say defaults. Defaults. And does proc ever get checked? Not really, because if proc's not running, there's no point to check it. It's not going to run. Or will it? I don't know. sysfs. Call up defaults again, I think, right? Yeah. Defaults. Defaults, yes. Defaults. Defaults. Oh, 0. Okay. sysfs looks good. Everything looks good. And we call dev pts. Alright? And this is dev pts. Right? Okay. Dev pts. This is GID equals 4. Mode equals 620. I hope you spaced them out better than I did. Okay? It's a little close. Alright? GID equals 4, comma, mode equals 20. Okay. Okay? And 0. Again. Dev PTS. Okay. Say shim. And here, dev shim. Alright. If your proc fails to load, if your shim fails to load at boot time, you could have problems. And this file system tab gets red, so kind of want to make sure this is pretty direct or pretty accurate. All right, so just take a couple seconds to look it over. But you know, this gets red. I don't know if the kernel. I don't know exactly the matter of how it gets red, but if it gets red and there's, you know, if you do have a device, or if you do have a dev PTS and you don't list it in here, well, nothing's going to happen with it. It's not, maybe it won't get mounted. You know what I mean? And then you'll get an error saying that you can't mount that, and it'll stop. So you need to make sure that you're pretty accurate with what's going on here. Okay? And I have confidence. Got confidence in you too. And we'll say EOF. Super. That's done. Scrolling down to page 243. Now we need to exit this. And we need to go into our sources directory. And we're in here. We need to tar xvf Linux kernel. Yeah, we're here, right? Yeah, we are here. That's super. We're at the end, pretty much. I think there's like one more configuration to do after this, and we're done. Okay, then it's reboot time. Something like that. Alright, so hopefully you made it this far. You didn't get all this funky errors. And just let this extract a little bit. We'll go in, We'll do a couple little make commands. Check it out, and we'll put it together. Did you see that flash by? Ham radio? Yeah. Kernel's got a ton of crap in it, doesn't it? That's why a lot of companies look for a lot of companies, I guess, like to endorse Linux, even though it's open source and all your code's out there. The compatibility with Linux, I mean, you got drivers for everything. Alright. When was the last time you did a Windows install and you always lose that audio driver, right? And it's probably because it timed out or something dumb like that. You know, Linux is just awesome. The device manufacturers come to Linux and or submit device drivers to Linux and everything else like that, and they just throw them in. You know, so I mean, Linux is just full of all kind of drivers, You know, like I said, even with Windows. When was the last time you did a Windows install and you had to go searching for that daggone driver or the driver kit or some crap like that? I mean, hell, you could have even just took it off the computer and now you gotta go search for the driver. You know, what kind of crap is that? CD into Linux 2.6.1627. It's not the newest kernel. Get your kernel. If you want another kernel, go do it. You know, that's okay. That's cool. You can do that. We're going to use this kernel because it's here. All the sources are here. We don't have to go extract anything anywhere. And plus, we don't even have a internet connection. Well, I don't right now. So maybe it does. I don't know. I didn't check it. I never checked it. All right, now we're going to say make MR proper. And what that does, I think, is it cleans out the old sources, I think. Or I think it cleans out maybe like the lid directory. I don't know what it does, but you need to do that. Menu config. Make menu config. Okay. So I'll go through and we're going to create our kernel configuration menu. Alright. See, your screen is going to light up like a Christmas tree. Oh, it looks like a Christmas tree, doesn't it? With the red and green. Bang! Look at that. Huh? There you go. All this stuff in here, I'm not going to go over this all. Okay? I'm not even going to look through it. Or maybe should I look through it? I don't know. Why not? If you exit, you go back to the last window. If you exit, if you go back up too high in the tree, well, you fall out. Okay? And when you fall out of the tree, that's the end of your kernel configuration. Okay, but as you can see here, we got all kind of stuff. This is what the kernel is all about. Alright, this is what the kernel is all about. You got Bluetooth system support, amateur radio support, okay, networking options. Let's go in there and see what that's all about. IP4 tunneling. You can sit here and switch these on and off if you want to. That's fine, it's up to you. I'm not, okay. I'm going to exit back out of that. Did you see that? What the heck is it? Infrared system support. You see what I'm saying? This is great. Alright. I'm going to exit that. I didn't turn any ticks on or anything, but you can go in here and configure all you want to get what you need to get. Or you could just get a system that's up and running and go get another kernel and configure that one. Okay? So I do know that if I just save the default config, it'll work. Okay? All the default stuff works, unless you've got some crazy infrared laser beam thing that you want to assign right now that needs your computer to start at boot time and kernel time. Then you need to go in there and change and find the you know, the mass flux capacitor. But if not, hey, leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? Leave it alone. Your kernel configuration is set as default right now. So we're done with that. Now all we had to do is say make, and we're going to combine the next command. Make modules underscore install. Okay? Let's see if we can get one more command out of it. We can't. Okay? That's good. So take off. This will probably take maybe a half an hour. Not even. Something like that. And I will pick it up then. Alright? Make. Look at this command very carefully. You screw this up, your machine's not going to boot. Thank God I gotta pee. That's not a lie. PS Aux. Look at my look at my processor just climbing from yesterday. Look, even they were down to like 1852 yesterday, right? Now look at them, 19,000. I gotta reboot this computer when I'm done. Why? I don't know. I just like a low process number. It just shows how long I've been up. That's all. Kill 19125. 25. Okay. Catch you guys in a little bit.